This podcast episode is sponsored by Toro de Lidia Tequila, a 100% blue agave tequila that's available at all Specs locations in Texas. Visit tequilatorodelidea.com for details.
Hi there, I'm Sonny James.
I'm Ryan Machano.
And you are listening to JMG Live Music Lounge.
Hey, this is Dinero, and you're listening to the JMG Live Music Lounge.
Hey, what it do, man? You already know who it is. It's Jacquari, and you're listening to JMG Live Music Lounge.
Hey, this is CC Pennington. You're listening to JMG Live Music Lounge.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Joe Gotro, and you are listening to JMG Live Music Lounge.
It's your boy DJ Chuck.
Hey, this is Mary Lambert, and you're listening to the JMG Live Music Lounge.
JMG Live Music Lounge.
Ready? Let's go. JMG Live Music Lounge with Jacquari Harris. Hear it first with your favorite music artists and celebs. Interviews and entertainment.
What's up? This is Felix Healthcare. You're listening to JMG Live Music Lounge.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the JMG Live Music Lounge. I'm your host, Jacquari Harris, and we're back just in time for Memorial Day weekend. Our guest for today's episode is our May 2018 Artist of the Month, Mr. Jon Moody. Some of y'all may know Jon as a talented artist. Well, he's also a cast member on the new show, Southern Charm New Orleans on Bravo. I'm also introducing a new segment in the podcast today called Music Moments with Laidback Luke. So let's get ready for another great episode. Here we go.
JMG Live Music Lounge.
So my music headline is on Jennifer Lopez, J-Lo, Miss Jenny from the Block. She just released another hot single called Dinero featuring her sister from the Bronx, Cardi B, and DJ Khaled. Now, I knew it was a matter of time before J-Lo and Cardi worked together, and here it is. The song, of course, is all about the fabulous life, making money, making those coins, which J-Lo does all day long. Jennifer is also getting ready for the new season of World of Dance that's premiering on May the 29th on NBC. She's back as a judge on the show alongside Neo, Jenna Dewan, and that talented ass Derek Huff.
JMG Live Music Lounge.
So Jon Moody is known for his innovative paintings. He's created artwork for all types of music artists and high-profile figures, including my girl Mary J. Blige, Snoop Dogg. His work has been featured at the White House and even on the TV show Empire. Jon is also an athlete. He used to run track, and he still keeps that body together. If you've seen him on Southern Charm or if you looked him up online, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So our interview started out with Jon explaining how he got started as an artist.
Starting as a kid, I'd always drawn around the house, created things, and to be honest with you, a lot of my old work to me was horrible looking back at it now. But my parents encouraged it. They always gave me more paper, more and more material, keep drawing. And from that point forward, as a little kid, they never made it seem that it was something I couldn't do. So for me, drawing was just second nature. I draw at home, I draw in class, I draw after school, to the point where I got accepted into NOCA, the New Orleans Creative Scene of Arts, and from there, I think when I was in high school at St. Aug, when I realized that when I would win all the art competitions our school would host, that, okay, this is something that I have that's different from other people. So from there, it was like, I want to be an artist full time.
That's what's up. That's really good. And, and it's so good to have, your parents support you like that and, not even give it a second thought and see and look where you are right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what were some of the creative ways that you came up with to get your name out there as an artist? I was, looking you up, and I understand that you didn't want to go through the traditional gallery system, I guess, to get your artwork out there. So what are some of the creative ways that you came up with to, get your art out there?
I mean, for me, I really, honestly, when I was practicing my art, and still to this day, I take methods from other people in their respective fields. So for me, I would always study the work ethic of someone like Floyd Mayweather and P. Diddy, even though they're not artists, but where they are in their, respective crafts. That for me was a key to translate to my own field. So different things I did were, I stayed aggressive, as an artist, I wanted to treat, I kind of made symbolic meanings in my work. Each piece is a single and each show is an album. How am I creating? Am I putting out enough music? But I'm really talking about my artwork. Am I staying aggressive? What's happening in New Orleans? How do I involve my art in what's happening, in New Orleans to add some type of, sense to culture, or tie into culture constantly, or what's happening in the world so that I tie in relevance to my work. So for me, it was always about staying aggressive in what I'm creating and also keeping a purpose behind my work.
Definitely. And how would you describe your style, your portraits, the type of art that you do? If someone's not familiar with you, how would you describe your style?
You know what? For a while, I used to call my style a splash style, one of my unique styles that I did, but I feel myself as an artist constantly growing and consistently changing. And so for me, I pride myself in that. When you see my work, you can recognize it. But also when you see my work, it's different from the last piece you've seen. So I don't want you to get tired of a Jon Moody artwork. I don't want you to get tired of a Jon Moody canvas or a Jon Moody creation. So for me, my style is constantly evolving. And, I guess I can describe my style as something that's relative to life, but always growing like life as well.
And you've created, so many pieces for different artists. Big Sean, Snoop Dogg. What's your favorite piece that you've created for someone?
Let's see. That's a good one. There's so many different pieces. My favorite piece, maybe, thinking about it, that's a good one. I've loved the different reactions from, each person who's gotten a commission piece, each person who's received one. Mary J. Blige, one of her reactions, the way her face lit up was amazing to me. Diddy was fun to create for. We had a fun night that night. His energy.
Yeah, definitely. Now, do people, do the artists pay for the artwork that you create, or do you just, you kind of make some of these pieces just as, like gifts to people? How does that work?
Oh, absolutely. So usually it works with, I have a good buddy down here who does a lot of the promoting events. So what we do is, he commissions a piece for the guests he throws events for. So it makes his event even much more better. And also, they get to leave with a one-of-a-kind Jon Moody. If it's not that way, absolutely, they'll have somebody from their team will commission a piece. It's never to give away art. That doesn't, usually, if it's something, a piece that's given away is more for like a charity cause. It's more for that type of event. But no, it's usually their team or, my guy Larry Monroe who throws events down here, we usually commission pieces as a gift for them.
Got it. Okay. And I know that you used to run track, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And was that in college or high school or both?
Mm-hmm. I ran track throughout high school and college.
Okay. What was your favorite race?
Oh, man, it's funny, I did so many events. I ran the 400, ran the 100, I ran the 200, I did long jump, I did high jump, I threw javelin. My favorite event, though, would have to be definitely throwing javelin. It wasn't one of the races. Even though I love running as well, but javelin was probably my strong suit. I just had a strong arm, and I really loved the competition and the technique and everything that went into training for javelin.
Okay, definitely. Yeah, I used to run track myself, the 100 and the 200. And, I just loved it. There's nothing like coming around that curve.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It is nothing. It's nothing like feeling it around that curve on a 400, too. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. And so you're a cast member on the new season of, Southern Charm, New Orleans. How did you end up becoming a part of this cast? Did you meet a producer at a party? How did that opportunity happen?
It honestly happened. I was buddies, and he's an actor, a LA actor. He told me, he was like, you know what, John, you just need your own show. And out of nowhere, he connected me with Tamika. He was like, you know what, I know this lady who's doing this and working on this project, and it's Tamika Lee. Definitely want to connect you all. So after that, Tamika and I connected, and it just, boom, we just hit the ground running from there. I mean, we kind of just were on the same page, you know, our personalities, how we vibe together, boom, how we clash together. And from there, it was just murder, she wrote.
And, you know, watching, you know, the first couple of episodes, I mean, obviously, you know, you're a good-looking guy, you're a ladies' man. What can people expect for the rest of the season and from you on Southern Charm?
I think people can definitely expect, you know, a different side of John. You know, you get to see more of my empathetic and outside of, I guess, so much looking or feeling as a ladies' man, but more of someone who's an understanding friend, you know. And of course, we have our ups and downs, but which you got to tune into the rest of the season to find out more about what else is coming. But you know, you get to see more of just an understanding friend, and I also feel like I am, you know, the old soul as the youngest person. You know, I'm the one who comes with different things. You know, I'm telling them this and what we should be doing and how we should be doing acting, and like, you know, it always catches my friends, you know, at a surprising. You know, I surprise them a lot when I hit them like that because they're like, John, you know, you got an old soul for such a young guy at the same time.
And what kind of music are you into, John?
Oh, I mean, I'm into, you know, I'm open into all types of music. You know, it just depends on what I'm doing. You know, when I work out, I love hip hop. You know, I love hip hop and house music. When I'm in the studio, I love opera. I love R&B. I love, you know, jazz. When I'm reading or when I'm just meditating, you know, I love, you know, different songs that are put together from, you know, maybe nature and things. So, you know, I'm an open person to all types of music, just depending on what am I doing.
Oh yeah, I mean, we have some things in common. I definitely like house music and dance and hip hop and R&B. So I definitely feel you on that. Who do you have a favorite artist right now?
Right now, you know, I don't have a favorite artist. You know, I've had different favorite artists change from time to time. You know, I've gone from the type of music I like and my favorites, maybe Drake, to Party Next Door, to 6 Lack, this new artist. But you know, as of now, right now, I don't have a favorite artist, honestly.
Okay, and you know, obviously, Kanye has been in the news this week. You know, with his comments, you know, about, you know, slavery is a choice. What are your thoughts on Kanye and his comments this week?
I think Kanye, like any human being, is, I think he has the right to have his opinion and, you know, the things he wants to say. I think everyone is entitled to their opinion. But I also do think at the same time, I think Kanye is reaching out for maybe some type of help, but doesn't know how to really put it in words. So I think a lot of things Kanye is saying, you know, maybe a call for understanding or maybe a call for a reason, but also a lot of things he's saying, I don't think he means to say, but his ego won't allow him to really back out of saying it. And so he gets in a deeper hole. So, you know, I love Kanye to death, man. I mean, as an artist, he's a phenomenal, I think genius when it comes to music. Absolutely, I think he's a phenomenal artist. I love his music. One of my favorite artists, honestly. I don't know why I didn't think of Kanye, but I just think right now he's going through a lot as a creative, and you know, he just needs more people around him to talk through it with before he just really just talks.
JMG Live Music Lounge.
So Music Moments is a new segment where we're catching up with some of the artists that have been featured in JMG over the years. Laidback Luke is a DJ and producer, and he's returning to Houston for a show at Stereo Live on May 27th. He has a new collaboration out with Steve Aoki and Bruce Buffer called It's Time. I actually interviewed Luke back in 2014 for our holiday issue, and here's a Music Moment clip from that interview where Luke talks about how his Dutch upbringing influenced him as a DJ.
there's a lot of Dutch DJs around in the circuit, and I feel that has to do with the Dutch mentality of the crowd, which is just a very picky and tough type of audience. So us as DJs will do their rounds in the Netherlands and feel like we are not really getting appreciated. But this makes us work harder and become very picky of how we DJ and how we portray ourselves. And so whenever we cross the Dutch borders, it all of a sudden feels like we're like these super DJs because we get a lot of appreciation, and that molded me as a DJ as well, and made me think that I could never take my success for granted because I know the downside of it as well, and it's all just up to like keeping up and staying very picky on yourself.
JMG Live. Music Lounge.
Thanks for tuning in to the JMG Live Music Lounge. All throughout the summer, we're going to be featuring different artists of the month, so stay tuned. Also, be sure to follow me, your host, Jacquari Harris, on social media. Visit jmgmags.com to download the latest episodes of the JMG Live Music Lounge podcast. This portion of the show is sponsored by Avant Media Institute.